Welcome to the Standby Generator Podcast, brought to you by Power Alliance. I'm your host, Jim Swetman. Together, we will dive into the world of the standby power business, offering expert insights, industry trends, and actionable strategies to help you grow and scale your generator business. Whether you're looking to optimize your operations, increase profitability, or stay ahead of the curve, this podcast is your go-to resource. So grab a seat and let's power up your business for success. Hello and welcome to this week's podcast sponsored by Power Alliance. This is Jim Swetman, and I have an extremely special guest here that I've been trying to get on for so many weeks, but he's been so busy. It's Jesse Adams, president of Adams Power, and we're here to talk specifically about standby generators, though Jesse has a tremendous amount of different divisions, has 6 divisions to the company. Adams Power is involved in Wisconsin and northern Illinois, of course. They do electrical, generators, smart homes, solar, HVAC, and plumbing. Jesse, why don't you just give us a little background? I know you're celebrating your 37th year in business, doing electrical. So why don't you just give us a little background about how you got started and when you got involved in the company, and then we'll start jumping into the standby generator questions.
Yeah, you bet. Glad to be on, Jim. I think I'm probably not dissimilar from a lot of the Generac dealers in the country of people that grew up in a family business. So I grew up, we started Adams my dad started Adams in 1988 as an electrical contractor. And then over the years, we started to add ancillary services. It's probably I think we installed our first generator sometime right before Y2K, the big scare of that whole era of things. But really earnestly got into the generator business probably about 15 years ago, where we started to allocate resources and really focus on that as a potential growth area and expansion for our company. And we've never looked back since. In addition to that, over the years, we've also, as you alluded to, we've added additional services and line offerings, HVAC, plumbing, solar, low voltage, you name it, and really to try and surround the home, surround the business, and provide a full suite of services for our customers. So a little bit different than some of the generator dealers, I guess, in the country, but yeah, that's about all we do.
Great, excellent. You're in 6 different locations. Managing that has got to be difficult, but specific to the standby generator market, what was kind of the deciding factor to really put a lot of effort into moving that? Obviously, with the choices of electrical and plumbing, what was the decision to say, you know what, I want to move into the standby power market. I want to put capital into that. What were some of the decisions in making that happen for you?
Yeah, I think for us, it was the opportunity to expand business in a kind of a tangential category there, whereas, as you well know, Jim, you got to have electricians to be able to install generators and that automatic transfer switch and then the other components to it. And so it was a way for us to expand our business in a space that we're well familiar with, being inside the home or inside the business, dealing with the power and the panels and everything else. And we really liked the opportunity for a lot of things. I mean, from a business standpoint, the chance to be able to actually sell a piece of equipment at every transaction, different than just maybe some pipe and wire. So it gives us the chance to have a higher ticket sale at each time. Also, one of the big things is the ability to continue to, on an annual basis, service that customer, service that generator, and get that annuity revenue. So for us, it was a no-brainer. I think beyond that, just the space itself is pretty meaningful. We like the fact that we get to provide power, peace of mind to customers. We've got a lot of our customers are older customers that, some have life safety equipment that they count on, depend on. Some of them, because they're older and more affluent in life, have the ability to travel and be away. Now, of course, we're in Wisconsin, so frozen pipes and sump pumps that don't run and really people's home is their sanctuary, and it's for most Americans, it's their number one asset, and you want to know that it's protected, especially when you're gone, whether you're there or gone. And so the opportunity to provide that continuous power to those homes, to those businesses, is pretty meaningful. And we've got
Great.
the amount of stories that we have of people who are just so thrilled that when they're out of town or when they're at home, and then that generator kicks out, and that feeling when you've got power, you've got that continuity, versus the
Oh,
horror
right.
stories, which is, you know them as well as we do. Somebody comes back home from vacation, basement's flooded,
Oh,
pipes have
yeah.
burst,
Oh,
other issues, and so we like to help mitigate that.
great. Excellent. It's so good. It is a definitely a very, very honest business. Real quick here, you're one of our founding members for Power Alliance, and we started this like 6, 7 months ago. What are some of the highlights that Power Alliance has helped you in your growth in the standby power business?
Yeah, I think we're big believers in just borrowing brilliance in general, and so the opportunity to be part of a mastermind group, obviously the insights that you've provided us over the years, and especially more recently, having run a very successful business yourself. We don't want to reinvent the wheel on anything that we're doing. To the extent that we can garner really smart insights from somebody who understands sales or operations or back end administration, or how to capitalize on different parts of the business, that's what we're all about. And it's as you know too, running a business is tough. There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of challenges, some sleepless nights. And so to have the opportunity to commiserate with other business owners and or business leaders, to share some of the struggle and the burden on there, and to pick their brains and get best practices and ideas, that's what we're all about.
Right. Yeah, we're glad to have you part of the alliance, and
Yeah.
your input and everything. It helps us all out. Just another quick question. You know, w- I talk to a lot of dealers across the country, and where do you see the standby power business in the next 3 to 5 years? What are your focuses? Where do you see the growth, and how do you see this market expanding if it is?
Yeah, I guess generally we'd say very passionately that we're long on generators, and I think the opportunity for people that are well established in the space, the opportunity for newcomers in the space to continue to grow this business is significant. I think last I heard, Aaron Yachfeld, the CEO of Generac, was talking about the market penetration. Obviously, that's grown over the years, but it's still single digit penetration. And so, what that means is that most homes and businesses in America still don't have generators. They still don't have that backup
Mhm.
power. And I think you take that combined with just different market trends, and I really like hearing about some of the macro trend things that are going on in the marketplace, where it's like, one, a COVID brought in a whole new group of people. When all of a sudden work from home became accelerated to a dramatic effect, you can't work and execute your business or go to your job if you don't have power. And so many more people all of a sudden immediately overnight were cognizant of the fact that they needed backup power at their house. And then additionally, I mean, whole new sectors in the marketplace that are demanding power. You got transportation, artificial intelligence, two things that weren't really there before, and the amount of power demand in across the grid is unbelievable. And to see the fact that there's for political or policy reasons, the pressure on kind of our traditional power production means, and coal and even natural gas has been tremendous. And so you're seeing, even in our state, there's plans to sunset some of our prime power producing facilities.
Mhm.
Now they say
Mhm.
that that
Mhm.
every year we're trying to put back additional green alternatives on the grid, whether it be solar power or something else. But really, the throughput on those is not nearly as effective. And I think people saw that and got a little bit of a wake up call in Texas, when all of a sudden, solar panels across the state of Texas are covered in snow
Mhm.
unexpectedly, and millions of people are without power. And so I
What a
think,
disaster. That was a
yeah,
disaster.
it's a disaster. And I think the age of the grid infrastructure was well known to be basically the average age of an electrician in the 50s. And so you've got an old technology, an aged infrastructure, tremendous amounts of more demand, sunsetting of prime producing power facilities,
Yeah.
and putback that I think is significantly less reliable from our perspective, regardless of how you feel about it. Obviously, we're in the solar space, but and so I think all that lends itself to say, hey, listen, most importantly, we need resiliency. And so having that backup generation is going to continue to be critical because our power needs and requirements as homes or businesses is going to continue to grow in the
Oh,
future.
I agree. I agree. It isn't going to be, especially during the Generac conference, they talked about power quality being a huge issue as well. I mean, not just having the availability, and we've pretty much used up every spare one that we get by power savings. Now we just don't have the capacity. So out of the
Yeah.
just real quick, just a funny question. Out of the thousands of generators that you guys installed, is there one funny install that you can remember that just kind of sticks with you,
Oh man, a funny
or
install.
a weird install, or something that just it just didn't turn out like you thought, or
Oh
you know.
man, we got horror stories. We've got some difficult customers. We've had we've installed for a lot of different people, and so you see just a pretty wide range of humanity, and
Mhm,
uh,
mhm.
and it's we love all of our customers, and it's always a privilege to be able to have the opportunity to do business for somebody. But yeah, there's been maybe too many to tell. And maybe some that aren't appropriate for this podcast. But
You're so good. You're so good. Yeah, I've asked that question to other dealers, and sometimes, we have to blank out what they say, and then that.
yeah, right. Yeah, I could give you the real deal. You probably have to edit this pretty heavily. So
Now at Adams Power, the tell me about your company culture. What has been able to maintain and provide growth that you have, not only for the standby generator division, but all your other
yeah.
divisions? What kind of culture do you push at your company?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and we believe that culture is everything, and culture drives business success. One of the things that we say here is, and we actually have it up on the wall. It says, "Our people are our power," and
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the thing that we're most proud of is the men and women that call Adams home, and we recognize, we speak about this pretty openly with the team that we know that everybody here could get a job somewhere else tomorrow. And so the fact that people choose to be here means something to us, and we take that as a great honor and a privilege. For us, it's about everything in life is about stewardship, and so how are we stewarding this company? Something that's been entrusted to us for this period and place and time, and then how are we stewarding the relationships with our team members and their families? We say our stated core passion is that we want to make a positive impact on the lives of our team, their families, and the communities in which we serve. And that's a bit philosophical for us, because at the end of the day, we believe that you can't take any of the stuff with you. It doesn't matter how many generators you install or how much business you do or whatever. At the end of the day, are we making a difference or a positive impact in the lives of people? And so that's really the focal point. And it's fun to see our team kind of surround and do that for one another, do that for our communities in which we're in. All of that is built on the foundation of our core values. And, we say we hire, fire, and promote by our core values. And so the cool thing about it, though, is that some of these things can be sometimes aspirational about what do you want to be. When we made the core values for the company, it was actually everybody in the room basically picked the top three favorite people that they loved at the company, and then we listed out the attributes of those
Mm.
people.
Mhm.
And so then when we ultimately boiled down our core values, it was things that were already possessed and kind of demonstrated by
Mm. Mm.
some of the best people in our company. So
Mhm.
that's what it's all about for us. It all comes back to
Mhm.
people.
Wow, that's just fantastic. It takes a long time to make that happen. It takes a long time to grow that, and to
Yeah,
and
it's
to
hard. It's
and to
hard
be
fought, man.
consistent,
Yeah.
and living that. Now, obviously, with your growth, you guys always have to think of new things. because you've got a lot of competition as all the dealers do. Tell us a little bit about the innovative thought that you have with your lifetime warranties with your generators. That's an interesting. I saw that on your website.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, the competition abounds always, and I think there's new dealers coming into the marketplace every single day. We're competing against more and more people, and ultimately, while in some ways you'd love to have a wide open market just for yourself, I think competition makes you better. I think competition derives a better outcome for the customer in their experience ultimately, and so I think it's made us smarter. We've constantly, we believe that a competitive world offers you two possibilities. You can either change or you can die. And so,
Yes. Yes.
we're always looking to innovate, as you say. One of the things, we did spend a number of years working on this, and it's pretty unique. I don't know anybody else that has it, but we were able to successfully build an infrastructure to create a lifetime warranty. So every single
Wow.
customer that buys from Adams automatically gets a lifetime warranty, parts and labor for their generator, and we're really that makes us pretty excited because you want to talk about power, peace of mind, the guarantee that
Oh
somebody
my
knows
gosh.
that we're going to be there and take care of that no matter what.
Wow. Oh, oh my gosh. Yeah, that is a big selling thing. And to be able to put that together and to think about that just extremely innovative that you guys have done with that in the
Yeah, thank you.
marketplace with that. Fantastic. How important are maintenance contracts with you guys as far as keeping up with that? And what do you guys do to try and manage all of your maintenance contracts? There's a lot of dealers out there that are saying, you know what, I don't really like to do maintenance as kind of a pain or warranty work or anything like that. How important are maintenance contracts for your company?
Yeah, I would say that if you're in the state of Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, or Minnesota, and you don't want to do maintenance on your generators, please give us a call. We'd love to help you out. No, but I think, as you will know, running an effective maintenance program, preventative maintenance to service those units on an annual basis is obviously one. It's critically important for the machine and to make sure that it's constantly going to be ready when outages do occur. But two, it's the ability to build service around that, to have predictable times where you're going to have work for your team, and constant revenue streams there is a really big deal. So it takes a lot of work. I mean, the logistics of having to facilitate a lot of maintenance for a lot of customers across a lot of geographies
Mhm,
is a
mhm,
bit of a logistics game,
mhm.
and so we're constantly tweaking and trying to perfect that. But it's well worth it in the end.
Well, that's fantastic. What do you guys do for marketing is always a big thing. Being able to
Yep.
market your company and stay ahead of always competition. What has been the consistent marketing that has been successful you guys to continue to make that phone ring for you? Just a question.
Yeah, I would say just as a starting point that you got to constant. It's like anything else. If you're not investing in your business, then you're going backwards. And so, marketing for us, obviously, we want to be shrewd with the dollars and cents that are hard to come by, but we're always going to be constantly invested in that. And I think it's kind of interesting because different markets, based on some of the dealers that I talked to across the country, are all different in terms of what's effective for them or what's cost effective.
Hmm. Hmm.
Some of the bigger markets, TV might be quite a bit more expensive, or radio, this, that, and the next thing. I think we take a blended approach.
Hmm.
We're really big on, we've invested heavily in trade shows over the years. We have direct mail campaigns, and we take
Hmm.
that. We do a really data driven approach on that. One of the innovations that our marketing team came up with is they partner with a firm that actually was able to get down to the census tract level, with the cross
Oh.
tabs of important kind of demographic information that's relevant to our customers. And I think the best marketing tool though that you could have is referrals.
Hmm.
There's no more
Hmm.
powerful
Hmm.
engine for your business than happy, satisfied customers that are willing to refer you. And so any way that you can create referral programs and encourage your customers to tell the story of success that they've had with you is most
Hmm.
important.
It's consistency too, right?
Got to be consistent.
Yeah, even when it's busy, and you've guys just going through some outages, aren't there? You guys had some outages up
Yeah.
there in the north, and I bet you're still marketing all the way through it. So even though the phone's ringing off the hook, part of, what we try and tell the dealers is you have to be consistent, because, the phone's gonna not ring, and then you wonder why, and you have to make that consistent uh, dollars in your budget to be able to do that. Well, Jesse,
Yeah.
we're just about ready to wrap up here. Just about out of it. What would one last question here? What was, I guess, the final thoughts that you had to any dealers out there that are on the bubble, that I don't know if I should get into this market or not? What would you tell them?
Get in the market of generators specifically,
Yes,
or
yes, yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah. Standby power market. What would your advice be to them?
Yeah, I think if you're in Wisconsin, Illinois, or surrounding states, you shouldn't. It's really bad business.
Gotcha.
No, but I think it's we believe in diversification within our business because you never know. Sometimes generators are slow depending on the environment, the situation. Sometimes HVAC is slow. Sometimes so the opportunity to diversify your business, to take out some of the big swales in construction that just generally happens, is a
Mhm,
big deal for us. It's hard
mhm.
work. But anytime you can create a little bit more diversification so at the end of the day, if your
Mm,
people are your power, your most important
there you go.
component of your company, how do you keep them working? You want to make sure that you're giving people a paycheck and allowing them to take care of their families. So that's what I guess, that's what I'd say to people,
Yeah,
unless you're in Wisconsin,
yeah.
Illinois, or the surrounding states. And again, just don't do it.
Well, great. We had an opportunity here to talk to Jesse Adams, president of Adams Power. Jesse, thank you very much, and congratulations again to your success and your constant growth up there in Wisconsin and northern Illinois. And thank you very much for being part of the Power Alliance podcast here today.
Yeah, pleasure to talk to you as always, Jim. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, take care.
Thank you for tuning in to the Standby Generator Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share. For more resources, tips, and to connect with other like-minded professionals, visit us at poweralliance.com or visit our social media pages. Until next time, keep powering up your business.